Everybody, and welcome to Rise and Grind. We have 5 articles today. Let's just get started with the first one. There's one word missing from the Supreme Court's new code of conduct that makes the whole thing toothless. I understood that there's been some corruption in the Supreme Court, and there are a bunch of things coming out. And one of the most interesting things that I knew about the Supreme Court is that when they were going to go do an ethics review, the Supreme Court unanimously said, no thanks, we don't need that. So, exactly the type of people who need that. And to hear that they're signing things or doing things that are still scummy, like, seems bad. Good morning, Snaker. Good morning, Alex in the chat. Let's see here. Federal judges have a lot of legal requirements.
I need you to stop thrusting.
Exactly. This guy gets it. Turn those off for these, but like, we'll see. The cursed, let's see here. When most federal judges get dealt a case involving a friend or family member, the law is clear. They shall recuse themselves. Yeah, no shit. Under the ethics rules that the Supreme Court set out for itself. Oh, good. They're setting out their own rules. On Monday, the admonition is softer. They should, not shall, should recuse themselves. After a raft of stories in 2023 about Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito's acceptance of lavish gifts, Sotomayor publishing her books, and other justices rubbing shoulders with millionaire lawyers at exclusive events, all 9 justices of the Supreme Court said Monday that they had agreed to a code of ethics. This is very light code of ethics. Ooh, Zealousy, what's up, my man? How's your day doing? I hope your wife is doing well, and you. Saw some of the Blood on the Clock Tower last night that Apollo Nick was streaming. It was awesome. The code is very similar to the code of conduct that binds lower federal judges. The 5 canons have the same titles, and some passages are lifted verbatim from the other judges' code. The Supreme Court even noted the similarity, but there are several differences, and one is key. Other judges are told a judge shall disqualify themselves in a proceeding in which a judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned. For the Supreme Court, the new rule reads, a judge should disqualify themselves in a proceeding in which the judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned. Wow, that's like fucked up. That's not good. And they all agreed to this as well, too. And I don't know, I can't think of a recent case at all where they have ever recused themselves or ever stepped away to have, like, because they have the 9, so you have a 4-5 vote this way or that way. 7, 9, I forget. Anyway, some odd number so that you always, like, split the vote. Interesting. And there's also no enforcement mechanism from this, as the article goes on to read. So, interesting. Supreme Court being unethical when they're being unethical? Huh. And they continue to be unethical? Weird. Weird. Oh, yeah. They just, the list goes on from the late 90s to now, and it's just like, as bad as the Panama Papers, right? Here's the next article. We probably already knew this, but plastic life cycle costs overwhelmingly fall on poor countries. Yeah, we ship stuff out to them and other things. As plastic production has skyrocketed over the past several decades, all of our lifetimes, wealthy countries have benefited enormously from increasingly lightweight, affordable products. It's literally the GOP that is the problem for the Supreme Court. Yeah, exactly. But they all unanimously came out and said this shit. So no ethics review needed here. But yeah, for the most part. Look, they're all the same. Both sides are the same. No, they're not. Not even close. Anyways, back to this article. The full social and environmental costs of the plastic boom, however, has been disproportionately offloaded onto poorer people in the developing world. Yeah, we've seen this where we would ship back containers full of trash to China, basically, and then it gets recycled there. According to analysis published last week by the nonprofit Worldwide Fund of Nature, or WWF, the costs of plastic across its life cycle from production to disposal are at least 8 times higher for low and middle income countries than they are for high income countries. In places like Brazil, Ethiopia, Fiji, India, governments' limited capacity to control or regulate plastic production has led to growing health risks from petrochemical plants, toxic air emissions, and chemical spills. Yeah, if you don't regulate where people can put these things and what those production facilities have to do, yeah, it's bad for the people. But regulation bad. Yeah, let's go to the GOP and Republican and right wing talking point of like regulation's bad. No, regulation's good. Meanwhile, a pileup of discarded plastic threatens to overwhelm these countries' waste management infrastructure, causing widespread land and water pollution. Yeah, so once you produce it and then once you throw it away, these single-use items, right, these like very ethereal items, even sometimes cell phones for people can be very ethereal in the sense that they only get used for like 2 years and then somebody gets a new one. Not good. Our take-make waste plastic system is designed in a way that unfairly impacts our planet's most vulnerable and disadvantaged countries. Alice, Senior Director of Policy, Influence, and Engagement for WWF, said in a statement. As a third round of negotiations over global plastics begin this week in Nairobi, Kenya, WWF is hopeful that delegates will rally around policies to reduce plastic production and fund waste management in developing world. Business as usual can be a death sentence, and it's also a death sentence to us all. Like other countries doing poorly is bad for our country, right? People be like, oh, why are we sending money overseas, or what's this, what's that? Other countries doing better is good for all of us. Period. Although environmental groups have long noted plastics outsize impact on developing countries, WWF's report is one of the first to attempt to quantify the inequality. It takes into account the market price of virgin plastic, waste management costs paid directly by governments, and the costs created by greenhouse gases emitted during the production process, all of which are relatively easy to put dollar values on. Yeah, they sure are. Yeah, we're all here on like Alex says in chat, globalism is important. Yeah, we're all here together, right? All the people that are like, build a wall on the southern border of the United States. Why don't you spend all of that money that you would do to put a wall investing in the infrastructure inside of Mexico and make Mexico a beautiful, lavish country instead of like putting all this money towards patrolling, policing, being shitty to other people. Go build something rather than tearing people down. So this article goes on. I believe we all agree on this. That's about halfway through the article. If you would like to read the rest of the article, I had dropped it in chat and we'll put it in the link below in the description. Yeah, it's absolutely abhorrent that we don't have like the UN and other countries and then also investing in each other as much as possible. Basically what it comes down to. This is more of a geographic / historical thing. But our economic state is in fact known to automatically reduce crime rates. Exactly. And happiness, right? All these people are like, oh, money can't buy happiness. It sure does buy a lot of options. You know, it's, I understand it won't buy exactly happiness, but up until like, oh, I don't know, 6 figures per person per year, like it buys an awful lot of happiness. Less incentive people then have less incentive to commit crimes. Yeah, because they have something to lose. When people have nothing to lose and nothing to look forward to and nothing to gain from like a job or other things, right? Well, guess what they're going to turn to? They're going to turn to any means possible to like support themselves. And that's like awful. So great comments, Alex. Thank you. Appreciate that. On this one, scientists uncovered the world's oldest pyramid, Gunung Padang? I'm butchering that, I'm sure. It's a little short one. Researchers have unveiled the unveiled that the pyramid, a colossal 98-foot megalith in Indonesia, could be the oldest pyramid in the world. Initially discovered by Dutch explorers in 1890, the structure nestled within the hill of volcanic rock might also stand as the most ancient large-scale man-made edifice, per radiocarbon dating evidence. It's a little short one. It's got nice pictures. Go ahead and click through. Take a look for yourself. I thought it was incredible. It's really neat. So, you know, just a little nicety here that we uncovered and found one of the old pyramids. It was freaking awesome. Break up the day. I tried to find articles that are not violence, except for Plastic's lifestyle kind of is violence against people, so we try. This next one is the title reads, Collective Intelligence Can Help Reduce Medical Misdiagnosis. A fully automated solution significantly increases diagnostic accuracy. With all the AI and everything else going around, I thought this article was going to be an interesting read. It's actually like published here at the Max Planck Institute for Human Development. I'll link linked below if you would like to read along. Linked it in chat, in the Twitch chat. Research at Max Planck Institute for Human Development, an Institute for Cognitive Sciences and Technologies, or the ISTC, and the Norwegian University of Science and Technology developed a collective intelligence approach to increase the accuracy of medical diagnosis. Their work was recently presented in the journal PNAS. Great. An estimated 250,000 people die every year from preventable medical errors in the US each year, and that's just the United States. This is not worldwide. Many of these errors originate during the diagnostic process. A powerful way to increase diagnostic accuracy is to combine the diagnosis of multiple diagnosticians into a collective solution. However, there has been a dearth of methods for aggregating independent diagnosis in general medical diagnostics. Researchers from Max Planck Institute and the Norwegian University of Science and Technology have therefore introduced a fully automated solution using knowledge engineering methods. Interesting. That'd be really good. They've also done studies that, like, if you're there before lunch, you get a better diagnosis, or you have to look this up. I forget exactly what it said, but there are times of day that are better, and there are times of year that are better to get a better diagnosis, right? Like if you're the last one before lunch and like you get in the door, like Doc wants to go to lunch, or Doc is like hasn't eaten enough, or whatever it may be. So there are also, you can get a misdiagnosis for any number of reasons, or a bad diagnosis, right? So why we always call it a practice, because they're always practicing. But looking to automate it in this way, it seems awesome. The researchers tested their solution on 1,333 medical cases provided by the Human Diagnostic Project, each of which was independently diagnosed by 10 diagnosticians. The collective solutions substantially increased diagnostic accuracy. Single diagnosticians achieved a 46% accuracy. Oh, that's so bad. Whereas pulling the like less than a coin flip on accuracy, oh no. The collective solution substantially increased diagnosticians. Whereas pooling decisions, 10 diagnosticians increased accuracy to 76%. Improvements occurred across medical specialties, chief complaints, and diagnosticians' tenure levels. Our results show the life-saving potential of tapping into collective intelligence. This is a senior, says first author Ralph Curvers. He is a senior scientist at the Center of Adaptive Rationality of the Max Planck Institute. His research focuses on social and collective decision making in humans and animals. Wow. Okay, they didn't lead the title. Like, you can go from a 46% accuracy to a 76% accuracy. So like coin flip to three quarters of the time. Wow, you can get a 30% increase in your, but you have to like pay 10 people to diagnose you as well too. So like nobody has that kind of money. But this is also why like a single person saying, hey, like this is your problem. That's shocking. Absolutely shocking. There's some more to this article, but yeah, that's the takeaway. We'll put it in the notes below. I don't need to read any more of this article. Get 10 people to look at your problem. We could probably apply this across other like solutions or whatever, that if you have like one person looking at it, you have a coin flip. And like this is also a knowledgeable person that, like, I assume the doctors that they tapped or other things, these are people who are, these diagnosticians are people who are knowledgeable in the space, are good at what they do, and they're still only 50%. Ooh. Not my favorite. But like, what about us who are not good at like diagnosing things or solving problems? Let's say when you have like many people look at it. So if you have a problem, have many people look at it is kind of my takeaway here. Still kind of getting over illness, but we're getting there. And then the final one, I had one more. Last one's when people are like, oh, president doesn't do anything, blah 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 blah. Is this behind a paywall? Do I need to go get it somewhere else? Oh. No, stop. Show me more of the article? No. Well, that's annoying. I forgot Bloomberg is behind a paywall. Biden has wiped away $127 billion in student loan debt. I don't know why. Let's go find another article somewhere. New York Times. Click. Is New York Times paywalled? No. Great. You can relink this in chat here. Sorry about the paywalled article. When the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's $400 billion plan to forgive up to $20,000 in federal student loan debt to 43 million borrowers, which is substantial. Like, I don't know how two dumb fucks got it in front of the Supreme Court and were like, oh yeah, let's not do this for everybody. And I do understand how. It's a lot of money not going into like corporate hands. Like James Webb Telescope. I will keep this one for tomorrow, Alex. I think we read something about James Webb. I need to compare this to the one that I read about James Webb earlier. I have it in my notes and everything, so yes. They manufactured a case to get it before SCOTUS. Okay, that's what they did. Yeah, but so all of this money, nobody bat an eye at 1.6 trillion going towards corporations under Trump, and then 400 billion going towards actual people with actual problems. Corporations lose their mind. They're like, that's 400 billion that could be in our pocket. To note, it'll be in their pocket anyways. If you forgive all this like student loan or whatever, people will go and buy things. It goes to corporate's hands anyways. So I don't understand. It eventually ends up in corporations' hands anyways. But yeah, let me take a quick moment. Alex, please feel free to submit like articles or other things. That's fucking awesome. I love that. I think that's similar to the James Webb one that we like read, but like if it's not, I'm absolutely happy to read it tomorrow. There isn't any. Oh, there isn't any. It's the federal student. I understand that the loans aren't owned by like corporations, but like this is 400 billion in monies that is like being used of the like what do you call it, budget that isn't going into corporate hands is the thing. So that's why they wanted to strike it down, would be my guess, right Joe? Yeah, so they aren't loans, but let's say somebody has $20,000 freed up in their life. Oh man, I'm not under debt. That person's gonna go celebrate. They're gonna go spend money at corporations. Like the money eventually trickles back to corporations anyways. No, okay. To help me sleep. Don't pay full attention to is the GOP wants people to be impoverished. Yeah, especially people of color. Yeah, also true. If you don't have enough wage slaves, gotta wage slave everyone. We saw this during COVID, and during the first COVID lockdown as well too, is that everybody saved a ton of money and everyone like kind of got out of debt, and and then you see the crash again. I forget the exact like graph that I saw, that like when we opened everything back up after like 2 months of lockdown, The 2 months of lockdown was actually like a pretty great time, like in terms of like saving money, putting your head on straight, cooling it just a little bit from the like race around for everything. At least for me, those 2 months were like incredible. Was it bad? Yeah, it's bad because you're like terrified of like getting sick of an illness, and even still today, I do not want to get COVID. I tested negative earlier, but like I'm gonna test again before I go see my parents to see if it COVID or not that I got. But like, yeah, not good. But yeah, like having people as wage slaves forever, or just people like being in poverty. Let's get back to the article. Blah blah blah. Sometimes debt relief appeared to vanish, but then millions of borrowers received surprise notices that their student loans would be eliminated through other government relief programs. The Biden administration has wiped out loans totaling $127 billion for 3.6 million borrowers, the biggest wave of student debt cancellation since the government began backing education loans more than 60 years ago. Cost of the release is ultimately borne by taxpayers. The Education Department is the largest lender for Americans who borrow for higher education, and 43 million borrowers currently owe the government $1.6 trillion. The government profits from the interest that borrowers pay, but loan defaults and canceled debts offset that. The system is projected to run at a loss in most years. Yeah, no shit. Like, I want to live in a smart country. 1.6 trillion, we can just pay that off today, no problem. We paid out, Trump administration paid that out, no problem, to corporations. Many other programs that the Biden administration is using have existed for years, sometimes decades, but were notoriously troubled, forcing borrowers to navigate complicated bureaucratic hurdles. By adjusting rules and temporarily waiving some requirements, Education Department officials have accelerated long-delayed relief. Here are the 4 largest programs being used to eliminate loan debts, and how 5 borrowers have benefited from them. The restructuring of loan payments are handled is even more important. Ooh. Public service loan forgiveness debt cancels $51 billion for 715,000 borrowers. In 2007, Congress passed a law intended to entice more college graduates into public service careers. Those who worked for government agencies or nonprofit organizations would, after 10 years of monthly loan payments, have their remaining federal loan balance eliminated. Great. Why not 5 years? Well, the program's complex rules turned it into a quagmire that rejected 99% of applicants. Oh no! 2021, the Biden administration tried to cancel student loan debt by temporarily bulldozing the program's rules and crediting hundreds of thousands of borrowers. Nice. If I scroll down, what's the next one? Income-driven repayment adjustment. Debts canceled $42 billion for 855,000. Let's see our chat. We got Joe and Alex in chat. Biden has drastically increased the amount of income that is exempt in determining what your minimum payments are. Good. Also came across a bunch of articles earlier of Hades coming to certain platforms for free at some point. Don't know the truth of those statements. Interesting. Well, hey, if it gets anyone to play Hades, let's play Hades. Like, game is super sweet. And now you're making your payments, even if those payments are $0 because you are low income. Your interest can't increase the principal. Yeah, that's also good. Interest can't increase the principal. And then the fact that people make payments of zero, because they never stopped paying, right? So, income-driven replacement. The education hires loan servicers to collect borrowers' monthly payments and help them navigate their repayment options. Watchdogs and auditors, including the department's own inspector general, have repeatedly raised alarms that the servicers' shoddy work and lax oversight. One frequent complaint was that servicers would improperly place borrowers' loans into forbearance, sometimes for years, which kept accruing interest, and failed to give borrowers toward income-driven options. That could have sharply reduced their total payments. Yeah, so they're like even screwing over people more. Like, people don't have time to navigate these things. They're too busy working their job and other things. And then when they're told by an expert with like the wrong information, whoa. Last year, the government announced a plan to address those problems by essentially wielding a giant eraser. Hell yeah. Income-driven payments plans are designed to eliminate any remaining balance after a set period of repayment, typically 20 years, even for borrowers who never enrolled in those plans. Yay! The Education Department decided to count virtually any payment for any amount as a qualifying one. Great. So the people who are like, here's your $1, I'm paying you $1 every month, here's $1, I got nothing else, right? Or even zero. For any amount, and it's tally many months in which borrowers made no payments at all because they had long-term deferment or forbearance. The department chose to apply those adjusted automatically for all borrowers, no application needed. Yes, I want smart people in my country and in the world, the whole world, right? Because they leave this country at some point too. So the whole world needs this type of shit. The result was that hundreds of thousands of borrowers abruptly discovered that their loans had reached the 20-year mark and been eliminated. The first notification letters were sent on July 14th of this year. And then it goes on to talk about somebody, blah, 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 blah. A retired professor had paid like a bunch of his loans for 25 years and had like still loan debt like after it. I don't know, this person is 72 and benefited from the best economic times. Like, that's not the story I want to hear about. Borrower's defense to repayment and closed school discharge debts canceled. $22.5 billion for 1.3 million borrowers. Cool. Hello. In 2014, Corinthian colleges once one of the large, okay, I see. Corinthian College, once one of the country's largest for-profit colleges chains, collapsed. It was quickly followed by ITT Technical Institutes, another industry giant. Tens of thousands of mid-degree students were left stranded, and hundreds of thousands were paying off loans for an often substandard education that failed to deliver. I remember some of this stuff. Yeah, all of these like for-profit colleges that just like collapsed under their own weight. The debacle catalyzed a wave of grassroots activism. Former students teamed with crusading lawyers to request relief through an obscure federal loan provision known as borrower defense to repayment. Students whose schools defrauded them, typically by breaking consumer protection laws, could seek to have their loans forgiven. The Obama administration began to build a system for handling these requests, but it ground to a halt during the Trump administration. Big shock. Both sides not the same. Weird. When Biden was put into office, tens of thousands of claims, some that have been languishing for as long as 6 years, were pending, and over 130,000 have been summarily rejected. In 2022, the Biden administration agreed to settle a class action lawsuit claim that covered 200,000 borrowers who had attended more than 150 schools. One of them is this person, I don't really want to know about the person. I don't care. But like the defrauding of people through for-profit, non-accredited universities, garbage. Like, how can non-accredited universities exist? Are we fucking serious? Yeah, Bimka, the for-profit university system, just scummy. Just like a bunch of the scummy non-profits like Susan B. Kauffman Foundation, which is absolute garbage. Never give money to them. They have like a 97% overhead and 3% goes to research or something. That's stupid. Anyways, so whenever you see somebody going to school or you get to give somebody advice, make sure the place you're going to is accredited. Like, oh God. I've had that conversation with a few people over my years, but like, oof. One of the last ways in this article, this one's a long one, but I think is an important read. Total and permanent disability debts canceled. $11.7 billion for 513,000 borrowers. Yeah, if you're disabled and like you have been in an accident, it just sucks. I'm sorry. Like, but I want to live in a world where we take care of people. So, fuck yeah. This goes on to read, borrowers who are permanently disabled are eligible to have their federal student loans eliminated. The process had long been a bureaucratic obstacle course requiring doctor's notes, which were then rejected with little or no explanation, or further rejection because of documentation errors and years of income monitoring and other compliance requirements. Many who would have qualified for relief never bothered applying. Yeah, this is like when people go for food stamps and they're like, you have to get a drug test and you have to do this. Why are we means testing giving food to people, but then we're not means testing the PPP loans? Like, are we serious? Everybody automatic in my world order, everybody automatically gets money for food. Like there you go. Everybody gets food stamps or just money, like in general. I have to convince Republicans that this is a thing by saying food stamps, but I just give people money. Go live a life, right? Holy shit. But everyone like gets food stamps and we'll take it back if you make like a shit ton of money. Yeah, exactly. Make a shit ton of money, we can take it back from you. That's fine. Like, also my IRS would go after the top earners and not the bottom earners. Like, if you earn less than like some amount of money or whatever, like, and you have less than some amount of assets total, I don't care about you. Like, IRS is not worth its time to go after these people. Single mom, don't care. Like, UBI, M4A, fixed tax. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, but two government agencies already had data on people who were fully disabled. The Social Security Administration and the Department of Veteran Affairs. Yeah, weird. We already have like places that these things happen. Huh, weird. By creating automatic data matching programs with both agencies and eliminating some income documentation requirements, the Education Department significantly expanded the numbers of borrowers who gained relief. And then they go on to talk about somebody. Sweet. Did I put this in chat? I did put this in chat. Okay, cool. This will be in the doobly-doo below in YouTube. I think this is it for Rising and Grinding, as I am now all out of coffee. So go ahead and press that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and press that follow button. But we will see you next time. That next time going to be tomorrow. We're doing Monday through Thursday for Rising and Grinding. And I hope to see you there. Have a great rest of your day and goodbye.